And guys, it's time to bring on a debut guest on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Is Kaylee Griffin, Valley Sports Cavs host. What's up, Kaylee?
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me.
Welcome to the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Kaylee. It's great to have you. You're doing a great job in year one as your pregame and postgame host. We love watching you. We've got 12 games left. It looks like they're pretty solidly entrenched in the 4 right now. Give us your thoughts on how they finish the year and what happens once we get to the postseason.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that there are just 12 games left in the season for the Cavs, but I am expecting this team to stay safely in that 4 spot. Again, they'd have to have something pretty drastic happen for them to slip either way. The Knicks and the Nets are kind of 3 games back behind them, and the Sixers have built a pretty good lead on them. So it's going to be interesting, but I think home court advantage for this Cavs team is going to be huge in the postseason. And right now, it looks like they're going to get that, especially if they find themselves facing off against the Nets or the Knicks in that first round. It's going to be interesting. And we have 2 matchups with Brooklyn coming up next week. And then the Knicks are going to come to town one more time before the end of the regular season. So I think we'll get a little taste of what we can expect in that first postseason matchup. But this is a young Cavs team that, again, is figuring things out for the very first time. We've heard from JB Bickerstaff over this last week of games where they've had 2 in Miami, now 2 in Charlotte, that this is a good test for the group in terms of preparing for a postseason, having to stay in a city and play the same team twice in a row. There's a different level of intensity, a different level of preparation in terms of having knowledge of how the team just defended you and how you go and defend them. So exciting that we are at this point of the season already and looking forward to what's ahead.
I think JB is excited that he's opening a Crumble Cookies. Have you heard about this? Do you know about this already, Kelly? He's opening a Crumble Cookies, apparently. Crumble Cookies is the best.
They are the best. And I don't know if I heard it, but I know he opened one, and I think there's a second one that he might be opening too. So we definitely are going to have to check those out. I mean, what a cool adventure for him. And he should definitely be providing Crumble Cookies to the media room at Rocket Mortgage. No question.
100%. Kaylee,
free for sure.
Yes, free for. What is the latest with Jared Allen? How's he doing?
So he is still listed as doubtful for tonight. He is dealing with the eye contusion. It is kind of one of those things that I think they're going to play safe when it comes to him. Obviously, he is super important for this team as they get down the stretch of the regular season, especially the postseason. Tonight's matchup with the Hornets, obviously they want to come out victorious, no doubt, but I think they'd rather see him in a matchup with the Sixers or even later on this week. So I think they're going to aim to play safe with him. He did go through practice yesterday, which is obviously a good sign, but they're going to just keep it safe with him. And obviously he is so important. I think we even saw that in that last game against Charlotte, how different this team looks without Jared Allen on the floor, whether he's scoring or not scoring. Simply his presence on the court is so important for this team as they make that playoff push.
Kaylee, what surprised you about this season? Is anything really stood out to you or something you didn't see coming?
I think I'm surprised at the level that Donovan Mitchell's playing at. I worked in the Western Conference for the last 3 seasons with the Houston Rockets, so I saw Donovan Mitchell pretty regularly and knew no doubt that he was a star player, but I didn't know that he could take his game to superstar level like we've seen this year. 9 40-point games already this season. He's averaging a career high in points. The way he's able to shoot the 3 ball, he has stepped up his game to a new level that I personally did not expect, but it's exactly what this Cavaliers front office was hoping for when they made the trade for him, is that he could help take this team to another level. And I think he's showing that he has that ability. He is a superstar. He can compete at the highest level, especially in the Eastern Conference. And I think it's safe to say that, did anybody really expect that Donovan Mitchell was going to be playing at this level this quickly? Probably not.
No, I agree. We made that point earlier on in the year that he did more. He could do more than we thought he could.
Kaylee, Evan Mobley, he's averaging around 15, 16 points. But the thing that always gets me when I watch him is just this fact that he's so disciplined defensively. He's able, on pick and rolls, he's able to switch. He's able to move his feet. He stays down on any pump fakes. He's just always in his right place defensively, and it's almost like he's beyond his years in terms of understanding how to play defense at a high level very young. What does JB, think about how good Evan Mobley can be defensively moving forward? Because he's awesome right now.
It's a rarity, I think, especially coming into the NBA, that you such a young player to occasion on the defensive end, and Evan Mobley coming into the NBA known for his defensive ability. I think that is what's been so impressive so far this season. He's been able to take his game to another level offensively as well, especially since February 1st. He's averaging a double-double. So JB Bickerstaff has always preached patience, understanding that he is 21 years old. He is coming along. There's still an adjustment period to the NBA that Evan is learning. He's been actively working in the weight room to get stronger, understanding that he needs to continue to work on his body to take his game to that next level. But defensively, he has essentially become an anchor. He's able to, like we've seen against Charlotte the last game, he's able to handle things himself. And as this Cavaliers team moves along and into the future, Evan Mobley is going to play a huge part in this team's defensive presence. It's something that the Cavs have relied on all season long. Defensive principles, being steady all the way through on the defensive end, something that you don't really see anymore. And the Cavs preach that, and Evan Mobley has become an anchor for that. And it's, I think, a little surprising to see such a young player be able to do it so quickly. But coming into the league, that's kind of what he was known for, and that he's been able to stay so steady defensively, even as sometimes his numbers go up and down on the offensive end, I think is something that this Cavs team wants to build off of.
Kaylee, I'm a little surprised Danny Green hasn't played more. When they got him, I was kind of curious to see if he's got anything left. Is the fact he's not playing tell us that there's nothing left in the tank, or do you think there's a role for him yet still in the postseason for this team?
I've been surprised too. I actually thought that Danny Green was going to play a decent role off the bench. I think he still does have some left in the tank. I mean, a season ago when he was in Philadelphia, he was starting in that game that he ended up tearing his ACL. So I'm curious to see. Now, JB has said that there is still a role for Danny Green on the offensive end, and that he expects that he can play with this team. So I'm curious to see how that plays out. I did expect to see Danny a little bit more on the floor as once they acquired him, and we haven't really seen that yet so far. But from a veteran leadership standpoint, I don't think you can ask for much more when you bring in a guy who has won at the highest level with 3 different teams. He's been a big part of success with the Spurs championship, with Toronto's, and of course with the Lakers as well, and was playing on a potential championship contending team a season ago with the Sixers. So I think that is valuable experience to this team. I'm hopeful. I'm still remaining hopeful that maybe we'll see Danny Green get a little more run. Now, he really didn't. I think he played in 4 games with the Grizzlies before ultimately ending up in Cleveland. So that might play a role in it, the ramp up for Danny Green. But I'm curious to see, because obviously this Cavs team could use a little shooting off the bench. And I think Danny Green could provide that.
Kaylee, you've been around, obviously, Houston, San Antonio, and the Cavs. How do you feel like the chemistry on this team is compared to some of the other teams you've covered?
The chemistry on this team it feels like it's on another level. They genuinely enjoy each other, both the floor, and I think that is sometimes to an NBA team, because at the end of the day, but these guys genuinely appear to enjoy with each other in all aspects. And it's hard to right people to build that camaraderie when it comes to a young group. But I think that also plays a role into it, that a lot of them are similar ages. They're going through a lot of the same things, and they're able to have that camaraderie. So that also helps when it comes to postseason and pushing for a playoff run, is that you have a team that genuinely enjoys each other for each other. We've seen that throughout the season. Obviously, there's been highs, there's been lows, but this group seems to find a way to battle through all of it. And I think that's going to serve this team well as they head into the postseason.
Kaylee, the pecking order in the East seems to feel about right now. I think a lot of folks, when the season began, thought that the Cavs would be right around that 4 seed. They've had some success against the Boston, Philly, Milwaukee triumvirate. But right now, at least my confidence level in a series against any of those 3, I don't see the Cavs getting over the hump against either of those 3 teams. What part of their game is missing that they have to have if they want to take that next step and get past either a Philly or Boston or a Milwaukee in the postseason?
My thoughts are that the struggles on the road have been pretty notable for this group throughout the season. They have been very, very good at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse throughout the year, but when they go on the road, sometimes that is where this team struggles. And so against all three of those teams, they would be the lesser seed, so they would not have home court advantage. And I think that's something to pay attention to. Now, as we've gone down the stretch of the season, they've had a little more success on the road, and that's obviously a good sign as you build up for the postseason. And I think some of these games down the stretch are going to be crucial to see where this Cavs team is away from home. I also think the second unit is just going to be so crucial. All season long, they've struggled to get key contributions, especially offensively, from that second unit. They've relied so heavily on that core four of Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and obviously for good reason. They when there's a balance of attack among those four, this team feels but they do need rest. Season, there's going to be times where they need to come off the floor. There's could be foul trouble as well, so they need to get a little more offensive firepower second unit, and they're more than capable of it. They have some legit shooters. It's just about consistency at this point, and I'm curious to see how this team ends the season over these last 12 and what JB looks for, because he still mixes and matches a little bit that second unit. So I think it's something to pay attention to here tonight, tomorrow against Philly in particular, just to see what JB is thinking in terms of who he throws out there.
Kaylee, before we let you go, I know you covered the Astros a little bit when you were in Houston. How often did you see Jose Altuve banging garbage cans? Did it happen a lot? Once in a while? No comment?
I actually had a feeling that you guys might bring this up. I will say I got there post-2019, so I was not there in the mix. I never encountered that, but I will say that, hey, it was a fun opportunity for me to cover a team that was playing at that level for those 3 years. I hadn't had a ton of baseball experience up until then, and so to be able to cover a team that was consistently competing for a World Series was a enjoyable time for me. And I'm hoping that as we head into Guardian season, that maybe I'll be able to do a little fill-in work for them as well. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Nice to meet you, Kaylee. Thanks for joining us.
Kaylee, well done. Thank you very much.